Bank. Can everyone hear me, by the way? All right.
Yes.
So I'm Laura from Gateway Bank. I'm co-chairing, as Stacy just said. I've been part of this committee for about 10 years, so I've been through quite a few of these events. I'd like to issue a warm welcome to all of our new sponsors and all of our returning sponsors, and all the others that are joining us on this call today. You make this event a success every year. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you. This is our 34th year of the tournament, and I'm proud to say we hosted a really safe and fun event last year, one of the only in-person events that we were able to attend. So thank you all that came last year, and just know we're very excited about this year. This year, the event will take place on June 24th at Majestic Oaks Golf Course in Ham Lake. This is a slight change. So we previously had done this tournament in August, and this year we have moved it to June. We have a lot of feedback from golfers and vendors and general members that they're very excited about this date change. So we're really hoping that we have fantastic weather, as we pray for every year. So hoping that it's not too hot as it has been in August in some of our past events. So I want to talk a little bit about the course and who would be attending the event. So Majestic Oaks has 3 courses: Signature, Crossroads, and the Executive course. The Signature course is located closest to the clubhouse. The Crossroads course is Crossroads because it does go under the road, so it's a little bit farther out. And then the Executive is the 9-hole course that's located right behind the clubhouse. What's really nice about that course is golfers get to go around twice because it's a 9-hole. Our total number of golfers this year is 360. So as a sponsor, you are going to be exposed to over 300 people plus all the other vendors that are attending that day. Included in your sponsorship, which I think we'll probably talk about a little more, if you are at a table at a tee, you do receive a table and then 2 chairs. You also receive a golf cart. That's nice because that's how you get everything out to your hole. And then that obviously changes if you're a water cart and some of our other sponsors. So that really will be tailored to your sponsorship on what else you might receive. One thing to remember is as a sponsor, you do have to purchase a food ticket. So if you'd like either breakfast or dinner, please consider buying a food ticket. As a vendor member, it is extremely important, in my opinion, that you do this. Breakfast, I understand, can be really hard if you've got daycare drop-off or if you're running late that day. But the 19th hole and dinner is a great networking experience. And as we have mentioned before, one of the only ones that we'll have in person this year. So please take that opportunity, if you have some time, to visit the 19th hole, but also to come to dinner. Another thing to remember is if you are at a table at a tee or other sponsorships, then you can always call ahead to the bar in the clubhouse at Majestic Oaks and place a food order. So if it's around noon and you're hungry, feel free to call the bar, use that cart, go pick that up, and you can bring that food right back to your hole. As a sponsor, I want to just tell you a few things that I've learned through the years. It could be raining. It could be almost snowing in Minnesota. It could be cold. It could be hot. Consider that when you're packing for your day. I always recommend bringing an umbrella, poncho if you like, sunscreen, bug spray, and then remember to keep yourself hydrated, water or if something else, just make sure you bring that out with you. There will, of course, be beverage carts going around, but in case you don't see one for a while, if it's 90 degrees out, just consider that and how you want to be comfortable for the day. If you have a grill station, we will probably talk about this later too, but you get that regular table, the 2 chairs, and then you'll get some utensils to help your grilling for the day. Please note, grills are not provided. You have to bring one with you. And that's a great, thing for your company to have. I know some of our bigger sponsors, Warner Stellian, for example, bring a gas grill with them every year. Now, day of, want to talk a little bit about the agenda for the day. So registration opens at 8:30. As a sponsor, it'd be great if you could be there at that time. I understand that doesn't always work out with your morning schedule. but please be at your table at a tee or your sponsorship no later than 9:30. Really would recommend being there at 9, just have everything set up so you're not stressed out. 9:30 should be your absolute last, should be there ready to go. At 10 o'clock, there will be the shotgun. So all the golfers will start coming out, and if, I know in prior years it's been, a little later, like maybe 10:10, but if people are ready to go, we'll start sending them out 10. So if you're on hole 1, for example, on signature, your golfers could be starting right at 10. So you want to make sure you're prepared. I also recommend getting early to the tournament so you can network. Just think about all those vendors you haven't seen in a long time and all the general members. The day will be pretty much like a regular golf tournament. This one does take a little longer, so I want to just let everybody know that. And that's just because of, all the games we have and everything, but it's just a really great day. We are hoping to wrap up around 3 o'clock. And so as a sponsor, I recommend staying there until 3. You will get a list of kind of the groups that will be coming through based on what we have, which the golfers will change up until the day of, just so you're aware. But don't just shout early. The golfers notice, and it's really, you're going to get more of your money's worth if you stay till the end. As always, for our generals, our sponsors, I recommend also planning a safe ride home. This is a fun one. It's a really fun tournament, and there are some opportunities to have a couple of beverages. So please make sure that everyone from your company has a safe ride home. I think Majestic Oaks would probably be okay if you left a car there for a little while, but just keep that in mind. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is you get what you put into your sponsorship. So sometimes it's not the best being out there when it's raining, but if you come prepared, it'll be a great day for everyone. So Susan, I want to ask if you have anything else you'd like to add.
I have to find my mute button there. I think Laura definitely covered the high points for sure. I come from, I'm a general member. So from the perspective of a general member, having participated in this before I was ever on the committee, I would encourage you guys to really get into the theme and enjoy that as well. Our theme this year, we're talking about heroes, whether it's superheroes, whether it's the heroes that have emerged in the pandemic or anywhere in between. The theme, people talk and remember the really fun holes where people have gotten into things and they're dressed up and all of that. So definitely go all in and have fun with it, because the golfers will remember you. I think that's all I have.
Does anyone have any questions right now before we move on to the next part of the presentation? All right, good. Okay, good to hear.
All right, so Jake, you are up to talk about pre-planning. And you're on mute.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I really enjoy talking to myself, so sometimes mute isn't such a bad thing. Couple things. Obviously, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about pre-event planning. Got a long history of experience in this area in my previous life before I came to Arvig. But can't stress enough what Susan and Laura said. Stick to the theme. Number one, be prepared. Be prepared for anything when it comes to weather. Like I said, you're not gonna be able to control if it's blazing hot or if it's pouring rain. I would just say have fun with it. Either route you go. So really, for the bulk of what I want to discuss today, broken down into 3 different categories. One of them is pre-event marketing. Second's going to be kind of preparing your staff how to set goals. And then the third is table and theme ideas to help attract everybody that's participating in the tournament. So number one, pre-event marketing. I can't stress enough how many times, at least for me, I've seen companies not protect their investment. You guys spent your companies or your own hard-earned dollars to be sponsors in this. Utilize what you have at your disposal to help promote yourself in sponsoring this tournament. This is one of the bigger events of the year. Could be something as simple as email blasts. Hey, we're excited to see all the golfers at the tournament this year. You know, Arvig's happy to be a blah, blah, blah sponsor, whatever your company name is. The other one that I've seen used a couple times for a couple different events is the Advocate. Again, everybody's going to be taking a look at the Advocate every month. What a great way to be able to publicize your sponsorship. You know, the big thing with that one is obviously just making sure you're prepared, coming up with a unique advertisement that's golf themed, that's hero themed, that's themed for the tournament, can really highlight your sponsorship, the money you're putting in there. And then the third one is, for me, is utilize other vendors. Obviously, in a time of a pandemic, we all have not had the luxury of being together. What a great way to be able to go and reach out to your other members and ask them some of the best practices that worked for them. Ask about what works well. You know, you could do things even like surveys that you could send out to your members, to the golf list, and say, hey, what are some of the things you liked? What are some of the things you didn't like about each hole? And to really kind of be able to give you a gauge of what's going to be successful for you and what's not. So those are the really big ones for me. Again, I can't stress enough. You have a lot of different resources at your disposal. You can get really creative. You can go real big with this, or you can go really small. The big thing, like I said, is promote your sponsorship. It's your money. So the second part is preparing your staff, setting company goals. Number one, happy faces. Make sure the right people are working this event for you. You know, some of the best salespeople are terrible in an event environment. So you really want the people that can hold a conversation, that maybe they don't need to be your closers. It's just somebody that's going to be fun, that's going to be smiling. Can't stress enough. I'd rather have the 3 happiest people manning my booth than have my 3 best salespeople, because those are the people that are going to be able to interact the most with the people that are coming up to your table. In terms of setting realistic expectations, I always play with the rule of 10. Okay, it's the rule of 10%. So for every 100 people you talk to, you might get 10 people that are interested in what you have to say, and then you might get maybe 1 close out of those 100 customers. So play the rule of 10. Again, this really for me wouldn't be a sales type of an event. You really want to make sure that you yourself and your company is creating a memory, right? Leave them with something to remember you by, whether that's a goofy outfit, a funny joke, whatever it may be. Again, you want to be memorable, and you want the people that are manning your booth to be memorable. So again, setting realistic expectations. Are you going to get some big sales out of this? Probably not. What you will get is some really good interaction, and that really good interaction might lead to a good conversation with somebody later on, something that you can pull back on. Later on in the in this presentation, I got some different ideas that I've used in the past that have really helped make sure you keep track of the different people that have visited your booth. So you can make sure that the ones you had really impactful conversations with, you're reaching back out to those ones first. So last but not least, table theme ideas, attracting people. Interaction is key. I'm a golfer every single year, and I'll tell you what, the ones I enjoy the most are 2 things. 1, Jake, would you like a beer? You already have me sold, because my answer is going to be yes. 2, give me something fun to do. There are long lengths of time for any of you that have or maybe haven't done a golf event before. You have a lot of golfers going out, so there's in teams of 4. So there's I wouldn't say a long waiting time, but enough of a waiting time in between holes that you're going to be able to have some really good interaction time with the participants. So having something that's interacting is great. I know a couple of years ago we had somebody brought a chipper and a bucket, and they had little rubber duckies. And if you had chipped a rubber ducky into the bucket, then you won a gift card. And it was just this really unique way that they were able to get people, interacting with their booth. But it was also a really good way for us to have a conversation, right? So they could start asking me some questions while I'm doing that chipping game and having some fun with it. So the big thing is keeping people engaged. I would definitely recommend some sort of game. I wouldn't get too crazy with it. Again, you have limited time. But if you do something that's memorable, believe me, people are going to remember you, and it's going to make your job easier post event time for you to be able to follow up. Hey, remember me? I'm Rubber Duck Chippy guy. And they're going to be like, yeah, ha, 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 or whatever. So, like I said, you have time in between groups. But the big thing is just keeping people happy, keeping them engaged, and maybe giving them a cocktail. So as far as the pre-event planning portion of this, does anybody have any questions or anything that maybe I can go a little bit in depth on?
I do want to comment on two things. Yes, beer. Everybody loves beer, but I do want to remind everybody, especially those that are serving alcohol, to please serve responsibly. We also ask people to drink responsibly, but also please serve responsibly. If you see that somebody looks to have had enough for the day, it's okay to kindly refrain from serving them and seeing if they would like a water or something instead. And then another thing is games are great. And Jake, I loved that game. And I know Aubrey wrote here too that was her favorite game. Games are amazing. Keep them short, like he said, but also be very cognizant of the time we are in right now. It is right now, people are still, even though vaccines are rolling out, some people are still kind of weary. And although we are outside, I don't know, no one knows where we're going to be in 2 months. And so I would prepare for a game that is as contactless as possible. So the Ducks really worked because you got to use your own clubs for them. So something where you could use your own clubs and you don't have multiple people touching. Or if you are going to have a game like that, I would encourage you to please bring gloves or something. Or even last year, some people brought like the spinning wheels. If you're going to do that, then have your salesperson spin on their behalf. Just because, again, we don't know where we're going to be at in June. Hopefully we're, we have a ton of vaccines and we're doing really well. And yes, we're outside, but that risk is still there. And everybody has a very different comfort level. So just to be respectful, I would make sure that whatever game you have is something that is easily playable by all attendees, no matter their level.
As well as, that's a really good point, Stacy, and I'm glad you brought that up. I get so into my thing that I start firing off. But if you are going to have something interactive, again, I would just treat it the same way that we would treat any other interaction, or anytime you're going into somebody's building or anything. Make sure you have cleaning supplies if it is something that's interactive as well too. Having plenty of hand sanitizer or gloves or whatever it may be. That's a really great point, Stacey. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, and back to the themes too, heroes. So it's a very wide range of heroes: superheroes, medical, doctor, teachers, your postman, your postal worker. Anybody is a hero right now. There are a lot of different types of heroes. So, but I know both Laura and Susan, Jake, they've all touched on this, but I can't tell you the number of calls, and it's not just golf, but even at product shows and whatnot, where people will call me after, because they're going to see a lot of people throughout the day, and it is a longer day. They don't necessarily remember the company. They remember what the company was doing. And so they may call a month later and say, who was it that had the rubber duckies? I mean, look at that. A couple of us already remembered the rubber duckies. And so, know that a lot of your customers, again, they're going to be seeing a lot of people. If you are very memorable, they're going to remember that. And when they call MHA and say, hey, who was it? We'll be able to say, oh, that was so-and-so. So I cannot encourage that enough. There is, a question here. I don't know if this was to be read out loud, but I'm going to. Have you considered the red, yellow, green system for name badges or bracelets? Something that people know each other's comfort levels immediately. I have not thought about that. I think the there's so many logistics that go on behind the scenes, especially when you have 360 players and another 150 or so sponsors. And then we also have volunteers, and the players kind of change up until the morning of. Sometimes people are subbed out very last minute. I think while I think that's a great idea, I don't know if this event would benefit from that, just because there are so many changes happening and it would be really hard to coordinate that. So I think it would be best to just err on the safest side as possible. That would be my recommendation. Something though to look for different events for sure. But this one, just because of all of the changes and all the moving parts, just err on the side of caution. What is this? Derek has red 6 foot, please. Yellow 3 foot, please. Green, hug me, please. Well, Derek, I encourage you to wear a button if you like that says I'm open for hugs. And if people want to hug you, they can hug you.
I would suggest having your green people in your office be the people working your event.
And I do like Rochelle wrote, everyone show up with rubber ducks. Rubber ducks are great. So are memorable outfits. So, go wild with that superhero theme. And with that, if any other questions for Jake, then I am going to introduce Pam and Mason from Majestic Oaks, and they're going to speak to you about kind of what to expect and what they expect. So Pam and Mason, you're up.
How's it going, everyone? I am Mason. I'm the tournament coordinator here at Majestic Oaks. So I handle all of your sponsor order forms. I work with you one-on-one. I make sure you get what you need. And Pam Schultz is our sales director here. So she does the selling of the events. So let's kind of start off by going from A to Z. So what you're going to receive is a sponsor order form. This will be emailed out by the golf committee. The first page is just some contact information and as well as billing information. The second page is going to be sponsor information. Read through this. Gives you some, ideas of what we will supply that day, as well as we have some other things highlighted in red for you. A big thing is any non-alcoholic ordered or products ordered, you can take home. That is what you'll be charged for the full amount that you order. And then any alcoholic products due to our liquor license cannot be taken off. Sorry, reading a question there. Any liquor products cannot be taken away off your hole. So you'll just throw that back into your cooler. That'll get recounted out, and you'll only be charged for what you give out. So with that, that's going to be the third page. This is an a la carte menu. You can choose exactly what you want and the quantity. We do have a few limits set. Obviously, anything non-alcoholic, you can order as much as you want. We try to watch so the course doesn't get flooded, and that way you guys aren't paying a ridiculous amount of money and going home with 400 bottles of water that day. So I'll actually look through each sponsor form submitted. I'll look at what's next to you, and I'll kind of get back to you if something's kind of out of line or looks a little weird. We do set a 96 limit for any beer or seltzers or canned products. That's just something that our coolers can only hold so much product. So that's just kind of where we limit it off there. The last page is going to be any food that you'd like to order. It's all in groups of 12. Once it goes out to the hole, it can't come back. So that's why we put a limit on 12. Buns come in packs of 12. That's just kind of what we went with. You can order a grill through us. We have about 6 grills to rent here. So if you don't have a grill, I know Werner Sellian brings one every year. You absolutely can order a grill through us. We will deliver that grill out to your hole. One thing that we cannot do is deliver a grill that you are going to bring. That's a liability for our employees. So we can help you with any sort of trailer if we have one available that day to get you out to your hole and kind of guide you out there. Yeah. On that page, you're also going to see table, tent, and chairs rental. So with your Table at a Tee sponsorship, you do get that table and chairs as well as a cart. You are more than welcome to bring your own tent, but we do have some to rent. Yep, absolutely. You are able to bring your own tents. And then with that, you also are able to bring your own merchandise to give out, any towels or anything like that. The one thing that you aren't allowed to bring is food and beverage. So any snacks or anything like that, that has to come through us. If you don't see anything on that list in that sponsor order form, let me know. I can work with you. I can get what you want. We can get canned margaritas. We can get canned gin and tonics. I'm here for you. I can answer any questions. If you have any ideas of, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Email me, contact me. I'll work with you on that. Just kind of looking through here. Sponsor expectations. Again, that is no food and beverage on the course. That is just our main rule. I'm trying to think. I think that's about all I have. Pam, do you have anything you want to add?
You covered it. Okay. Mason will take very good care of you, all of you.
Day of, when you come to the event, you'll see me at a table. Come up to me. I'll be the sponsor check-in. I'll make sure whoever is there for your company, I'll get them out to the hole. I'll draw them out a map. I can make sure they get out. And actually, I'll hand them the sponsor order refill sheet. It's going to have a number that they can text to our cart controllers who work with our BevCart staff. Please text the order. Do not call that order. I will stress that on the sheet as well. That'll come directly to our employees. Hey, I need 24 more Coors Lights on Crossroads 7. And we'll get that out there as soon as possible. It's normally about 10, 15 minutes. One thing that I want to stress with that is do not order from our restaurant through that phone. That is specifically just tournament orders. You can call into our front desk and get directed through there and then come and pick up the food. But other than that, I know you guys are probably gonna have a lot of questions. Just let me know. That's kind of all I have for you right now. So I'll give it back to Stacy.
Great, thank you. One thing I do want to make mention of, and I know it's in the contract, but there's a lot of information in the contract, is if you did purchase a rolling cart sponsorship or a beverage cart sponsorship. I'm sorry, my 4-year-old is at home with me. Hold on, bud. Those carts are limited to one person per cart because of the way that they're set up. And the cooler. So please make sure that you are aware of that. If you show up the day of and you have 2 or 3 people, we can't fit them on the cart. We cannot get you extra carts. You are able to bring your own cart if you want, if you're a beverage sponsor and it has, you know, a cooler that is secured. There is one company that is going to be doing that. So if you do, you know, reach out to me, Mason, Pam, or just copy all of us and let us know so that we're aware of that. We may have some further questions. They may have some further questions, but yes, the cart sponsorships that serve beverages, not the photo carts, are limited to one. And then also, if you did not purchase a grill station, you cannot grill at your table at a tea. And then you can order snacks and whatnot, but you cannot grill at your spots. And you are welcome to distribute beverages as well. So again, everything must be ordered through Majestic Oaks.
To kind of add to that, Stacy, as well as the cocktail carts, if your company is sponsoring a cocktail cart and you need more product that day, go ahead and text your company name, and this will all be on a sheet, as well as cocktail cart, and swing around the back of the building. We'll have our controllers back there. They'll load you back up and you'll be good to go. So.
Anybody have any other questions for Majestic Oaks right now? Yes, that is a good point, Laura. Please be respectful of the course. Don't drive on the tee box. And also one thing too, and I'll bring this up at the end as well, but you know, you do get that cart with your sponsorship when you're at a table at a tee. That is to help you carry supplies. But we do not want you driving around during play. That cart should be parked unless you're going to the restroom or going to get something to eat in the restaurant. Other than that, your promotion for the table at a tees is limited to that space. We don't want you decorating your cart and driving around and promoting further than that, because that's what other sponsorships are for. So that's a good point on that as well. Does anybody have any other questions right now? All right, then I am going to turn it over to Kelly. Kelly's going to talk to you all a little bit about promotional items, timelines, and that kind of stuff. So Kelly, welcome, and you're up.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I planned 2 weddings, neither of which were mine, at Majestic Oaks. It's a very beautiful venue if you haven't been there before. My brother and sister are both still married, so far so good. I'm here to talk to you today about promotional products. The first thing and the most important thing is why. Why would your company spend money on stuff to just give away that people are going to put in the garbage? Well, because you're doing it wrong. And that's why they're throwing it in the garbage. So the first thing you want to do, this is my number one. If you don't have any other money, buy yourself a tablecloth for that table. You should have a tablecloth for every trade show you go to anyways. And if somebody walks up to your booth or your table or your hole or whatever, and they don't know what company you're with, you have a problem. You're there to sell your brands and your people. And if you don't have your brand there, then your sponsorship dollars aren't getting their full value. Then the branding is the number one why here. You want to make sure your brand is known. It takes an average of 8 touches for someone to remember you and possibly reach out to you for further business. So if they don't see your brand on the table, talk to your salespeople, have a giveaway in their hand when you leave. You've missed 3 opportunities right there to have 8 of your touches. And that seems like a lot, but people who are salespeople will tell you, you're very rarely going to get that sell the first day. Just like Jake was talking about, this isn't a day for sales. This is a day to make your brand known so that when they need you or when they see you again, you're becoming a familiar face. So the most important part of that is making sure your brand is front and center. If you have a little bit extra or you do a lot of golf things, those branded 10 by 10 tents are also a great idea. They make them super easy, super lightweight. Now there are ones that can fit in the trunk of your car. No problem. You can pop it up in like 30 seconds, stake it down if it's windy. If it is raining, you're the savior. People are going to be huddling under your tent. They're not that expensive, and you can get some really great ones that have your logo on all 4 sides for relatively cheap. So that's a really great one too. But as far as giving away promotional goods to people to leave with, one of the biggest things is you want to make sure you're getting a return on your investment, which you will if you're giving away good promotional products. If you have something that sticks around in their office, in their house, in their car, they're seeing you over and over and over again. And that helps with that familiarity with your brand. Branding is everything. Just ask Burger King why they are constantly rebranding, unbranding, doing things with McDonald's in Europe right now, because your brand is your most important asset. So you want to keep that brand front and center, and you can do that by, even after they leave, making sure they're taking something with them. And when on earth do you otherwise thank people for commercials other than when they hand you something physical? You don't look at the TV and go, oh, thank you. That was really nice to watch that stupid ad about Nissan. But when somebody hands you a car coaster, you tell them thank you. Because promotional products are like the sneakiest way of making people take your advertising dollars. And your companies probably have advertising dollars anyways. You might as well put them in physical form. So the biggest mistakes I see for a golf tournament are that people think their giveaways need to be golf themed. Just because we're on a golf course doesn't mean you have to give golf balls away. Other people will be giving golf balls away. So if you have a lot of golf balls, or if your company likes to spring on Pro V1s so that they're the coolest people there, more power to you. But what you're giving away can go beyond the golf course. It can be meant to stick at that person's house, be something that sits on their desk every day. It doesn't have to be something that stays in their golf bag just because we're at a golf course. The other thing I see is that people don't spend enough money. This is probably my number one cardinal sin with promotional products, is that people tell me they have a $200 budget for a 300-person event. That's not, you need to reevaluate something like that, because if you're receiving something that's worth whatever that is, 75 cents, you can imagine why that's not a high dollar value return on your brand. So sometimes it might be a little bit of a shock up front, but the amount of return on investment you're getting on a higher dollar value item is huge. First of all, it speaks to your brand. Second of all, if it stays around and doesn't just go to like that person's grandkids, then they're going to be seeing it more and more. And if you're spending a little bit more money on these sorts of things, that just means you have less dollars to spend elsewhere. But these touches that you're getting, like if you buy something that sits on their desk and they see that tumbler every day, that's actually less money per touch than having to buy an advocate ad and whatever ad and send a salesperson out. So you're kind of saving money in the long run if you invest some money up front. The other cardinal sin I see is people buying too big of giveaways for a golf event. You don't want to give someone a cutting board. What are they going to do with it for the next 11 holes? So make sure whatever you're giving them is something they can carry around. Water bottles are about where I draw the line. And even then, I do prefer, like, if someone's going to give you something with a carabiner or that can hook onto your bag, people can keep stuff in the carts, but if it's not hooked to their bag or to them, by the end of the tournament, if they're like Jake and they've had a beer at every hole, they've lost whatever you've given them. So don't give people such big things that they can't carry it around or that they're going to lose it. So now that I've told you not what to do, I'll tell you what the good things are to do. The first is to make sure that whatever you're giving away is either themed to your booth, which is an investment for that event itself, or something that's super good. And my company tends to lean the second way. So what we do at the beginning of every year is we evaluate our promotional products. We buy good stuff, and then we bring that good stuff to whatever event we're throwing. And because it's good stuff, it doesn't matter what event it is, people are going to keep it. I like the latter because if you buy 300 water bottles and only 200 people take it, but they all had MHA Golf 2021 on them, what are you going to do with those other 100 water bottles? But if you have a bunch of really cool things that represent your brand in total, it doesn't matter what event, you can use them for the next things moving on. The other thing I suggest that a lot of people are getting into now is what's called multi-packing or kitting. So that means you have multiple things in a single gift. And this is where you can see a lower value price point, but the gift as a whole is a little bit better. It'll be something as simple as a pen and a notebook, or a water bottle with a cooling towel and some teas in it. Something that just kind of speaks a little bit more, and you can, if you want, target it so that something's meant to stay on their desk, something's meant to go to their kitchen, and something's meant to stay in their golf bag. So you're in every facet of their life. And then you want to make sure that whatever you're giving them is useful. That's a big, big thing. People don't tend to keep decorative things unless it's perfectly their style. So I recommend, like golf towels are great. Tumblers are great. Other things that people are going to keep around, pizza cutters are like bonkers. People love pizza cutters. Just stuff like that people are going to actually use. One of my favorite things, if you're willing to spend a little bit more money, is a clip-on speaker. Speakers have gotten really inexpensive. It's about this big, can clip on your bag, go to you at the beach, whatever, but it's super useful. And people are going to bring your brand with them then. So, sorry, I'm talking a lot. If you can't tell, I'm an oldest child. The next thing is when to order. So you're like, Kelly, you've given me so many great ideas. What should I do with these? And what you do is you start collecting your ideas now, because this event is at the end of June. And promotional products typically take right around right now, especially 2 to 3 weeks to order. And it could be a whole week for shipping. COVID, as we know, has ruined the supply chain and everything else. So I tell people to just bank on a month right now to order promotional products. In a normal world, you could probably get away with something faster, but a month is pretty safe, especially with inventory issues. And because you don't know exactly what you want yet, and you want to find the right color, the right product, et cetera, that's why it's great to start looking now so that you can pull the trigger by the end of May and you can have your logo on it and everything set just the way you want it. You're not rushing through proofs or trying to find Debbie in marketing who has that file that you need. It's just all set when you go to order. Also, if you can have things ahead of time, that's always way better. People who are ordering things the day before to arrive to the event, that doesn't tend to go well. That's always the time when stuff doesn't arrive on time. So if you could order now for golf, we actually have most of our golf orders for the entire season placed in March and April. So when you go to order, a couple of things that you want on your items. You want to make sure your logo is on them. This seems like a no-brainer, but you would be surprised. Your company logo in its best format. If the product calls for it and you can afford it, full color is best right now. You want to have your brand shining. Also, people have really come to expect retail quality and retail level imprinting. That means things need to be sharp. They need to look high end. They also need to look like you would have bought them maybe at like a Target. So what I mean by that is if you've got a tumbler, could you imprint right here? Sure. But what would somebody do right now on the retail side? Maybe a slogan here, a thing vertical there, and then something cool down the side. Like you need to think out of the box. You're not just putting your logo in the middle of something. That is kind of passé. Right now, retail is what is roaring off of the shelves. And to that effect, brand names are huge in the promotional market. If you have the marketing dollars for them, a brand name will get you further. There have been about 100 new brands that came in the promotional market over the past 2 years. If you have room on your object, a great thing to do would be like a special saying or, you know, just something kind of tongue in cheek. That's very popular right now, as long as it's on theme with your brand. What you don't need is your phone number, your email address, your regular address, your website. People have Google. If they know your name, they know how to find you. You just muddy up your promotional item when you put 1102 Sunny Lane, Golden Valley. Like nobody needs to have that on your cup to know where you are. What you could do though is if you have your best salespeople, because your best salespeople are your best happy faces, your reps can all bring their own item. That's been pretty popular before too, where each rep has a different item and it has that specific rep's info on it. Then people can take multiple items from your table, and your reps are kind of like speaking to their own personality with their promotional items. Let me see. Yeah, that's it. Those are all my many talking points. Let me know if you have any questions.
That was great, Kelly. And it got me thinking too. And I know Aubrey, she's on the call too. And I'd like to ask Susan, what are your favorite giveaways over the years? Susan, looks like, I have, unfortunately I'm home right now, but at the office, I have a stash of things that typically I would show people. Like one really cool item I got years ago, and I still have it, it was for like a faucet, like a plumbing supply company. And it was a sink. I think Kelly, she knows what I would show. It was a sink, but it fits on your desk and it has paper clips and they're in the shape of water drops. And so it reflected what the company sold, but it was also useful and I could use it on a regular basis. Other things that are really good, especially for golf, are Chapstick and Sunscreen and bug spray. You know, a lot of people can get those now in those little like pen size ones that you can stick in your pocket. They'll use them that day. And one thing I want to say about Chapstick really quick is that I'm kind of a chapstick snob and I'm very particular about my chapstick. There's one company in particular over the years that had one that I know people would come to product shows to be like, where is that chapstick? And when they stopped making it, so many people were disappointed, but it was like no other. So, I mean, your giveaway items can really make your name, really make you stand out for a very long time. And there are some that will come home and you'll give to the kids or the grandkids, but you know, if they're playing with it, that's still your brand that they're playing with on a regular basis. But I would definitely go with something useful. Susan, what have been some of your favorites?
These glasses, the glass cleaning cloths. Now that I've reached a certain age where I can't see anything within 3 feet without magnifiers. And apparently I'm as oily as Ted Cruz. And so like my glasses, I have to clean them constantly. And I absolutely love every person who has those things because I'm like, I want those. I want them everywhere. I want to have one everywhere I go. So those things for me are huge. And how small is that? I mean, that folds up to nothing. So
Yeah, and to my point earlier, both of those things, both the screen cleaning cloths and the chapsticks, are where if you will just spend 20 more cents, somebody will keep your stuff. Like the chapsticks, if you get a beeswax SPF 15 lip balm with a good flavor, people will use that. If you get one of those crap ones that's 45 cents and tastes like chemicals, nobody's going to use that. Same with the screen cleaners. I've seen some really thin, chintzy ones. No, but if you want to spend the least amount of money you've ever spent to invest in a tech product, screen cleaners are, I mean, all day long. And it's full color, full bleed imprint. Like, look at all that space for your brand. It's a great.
yeah.
Stacy, I have two quick ones. And these are not from the tournament. This is at the vet convention. It's a stressed dog. It looked like my dog, so people kept bringing it over to me. But if you get one like that's a golf cart or something, people would take it, and it's got your name on it. The second one, it was Minnesota Commercial Real Estate Women, which a lot of MHA members are also. Griner Construction did this candle holder. It was $7. So I looked it up. It came from Innovative Office. It has just a regular candle in there. You can turn it around so people can bring it home. But I thought it was a really cool promotional product that people will actually keep.
And those are made of concrete, actually. I know exactly what those are. They're made of concrete.
Yeah.
They're really cool. I will
It's
warn people,
fabulous.
those are a bear to ship in because they're like $1 million. But they look so cool. And talk about useful and retail. Like, that's what I mean when I say retail. It's got the copper up the back. It's concrete, which is super hot. It's stamped in. Like, that's something Laura's going to keep.
Aubrey brought up a good one too, ball markers that clip onto your hat. And again, that's really important. I know last year we've had one company that gives away giant buckets, which everybody's excited about. But at the same time, they're like, where do I put this bucket? Because my golf bags are in the back and I don't have any room. And so it's super exciting at first, like, yes. And we do have a bag sponsor. And so you'll get, a cloth bag that day that you can put things in, but buckets are a little bit harder because you can't kind of squish them and fit them in different spots. So that is, be mindful of what you're giving out and making sure it can fit in a bag or something that is collapsible or whatnot. But
I will say that water bottles over the course of the years have gotten more and more popular, in which I love the idea at first. I absolutely can't stand. Like, now I have 17. I end up throwing them all in my bag. I will say this, the one that I did keep was the higher end, better made one, for sure. As I went through them, I was like, oh, okay, I don't want this one. I don't want this one. Yeah. So, sometimes a little goes a long way. I mean, for a lot of the golfers out there, especially us hacks, tees are great. Again, maybe not something that you want to do on your own, that you want to do with the package, but like little tea holders. Let's see if I can show that.
Nope.
Branding for myself. There we go. But little things like that, I don't know. I think they'll go a long way. But quality, definitely. Quality. Don't go cheap.
And one thing even for that day with, if you're a beverage sponsor, one of the companies did this last year too, is I would consider investing in can koozies. So you put the beverage in a can koozie and then give it to the person so that they get to use that all day. So,
but use the scuba cell ones, not open cell foam. And we have ones where you can stick the stitch and imprint on the bottom too. And then you can do like a prize or a giveaway or something. Like, just think out of the box. Like, really, whatever you've gotten before, don't give that away. Like, give away something better and newer is kind of the theme that I like to tell people.
And if you don't have a huge budget, then save some and get some really good ones for some prizes for a game.
Yes.
To get them involved and still have them available. Wonderful. Any questions for Kelly or on promotions? I have not seen anything. So then I am going to hand it back over to Jake, who's going to talk now a little bit about what to expect the day of as far as, qualifying and the attendees and how to make the most of that. So Jake, you are up.
Awesome. Great. I'm sure everybody's really excited to listen to me again. I can see all the smiling faces. Derek, don't smile so big. Okay. So number one, know your audience. How do you identify? Have a combo, ask a question. Hey, I'm Jake. What do you do? You know, who are you? What do you do? Get people talking about themselves. People love to talk about themselves a lot more than they like to hear you talk. So, you know, that's for mine, my big thing is always, you know, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about what your company does. But have those conversations light. I wouldn't go crazy into depth. But ask questions that lead into your company. If you're a restoration company, ask them, and you're talking to a property manager, ask them, hey, tell me what's been your worst disaster that you've dealt with. They're going to love to share that story. And that is a great way for you to qualify that person and be able to send a memorable follow-up piece later on after the event's over. So again, it's a fine line of keeping it light and not going into a full sales pitch. But really, you just want to find out more about their company and that individual. That would be the two pieces of information that I would suggest you try to get out of each of your conversations, if at all possible. Great way to do this: collect business cards. I've done this at every single event that I've ever been to. I bring 3 things with me. I bring a 3-pack of different colored highlighters. I bring a bucket for business cards, and I bring my pen. And each interaction that I have after the person leaves, I take their name, or after they put their business card in, I'll pull it back out, write a quick little note of what kind of conversation I had, and then I'll use my different colored highlighters as different ways to identify, was it a casual conversation? Was it somebody that was really interested in my product or my service? And or 3, was it a complete, was it a waste of my time? And or was it, not a that's probably a terrible way of saying that, but let's be honest, you're going to have plenty of conversations where you're going to get somebody that is just not interested in what you have to say, and that's okay. That's ones you got to move through, but it's a great way for you to be able to track the people that you spoke with. You're going to have a lot of people visiting you throughout the day. You're not going to be able to remember every conversation. So write down a quick note. I met Derek. He had an English accent, something unique about him. He had an apartment. He owned an apartment complex that burned down 3 years ago. Great. Now I know something that I can talk to Derek about and follow up with him about. Derek, thanks for being my guinea pig. Appreciate it. So that's the big thing. Introducing yourself to attendees. This is really obvious, but smile. Right? You're having a conversation here. You're not having a sales pitch. You don't want your 10-second elevator pitches, but what you do want to have is the right conversation with each of these attendees. Make them memorable. Ask them questions that can lead into what your business does. And like I said, then you have your highlighter and your pen to follow up with all of that information on there as well too. What else did I have? Yeah, knowing your audience is the big one. You're gonna have vendor members. You're going to have general members. I think it's safe to say most vendor member companies are really looking for the general members. But to be completely honest with you, I've had more success throughout my career connecting with my other vendor members. And those are the ones to me that are really impactful, because a lot of ways you can find different ways to work together. And the more people that you have advocating for your product or that understand your product, the better they're going to be able to do. And maybe a conversation that they have with that particular member, and they say, oh, hey, you know what? It sounds like you need this service. I don't provide that, but I have a great person that I can get you in touch with. And so I've seen a ton of success myself just teaming up with as many people, as many vendor members that are kind of in the same business category I am. So again, don't let anybody go to waste. Take advantage of the interactions that you have. Keep it fun, keep it light, smile, and find out your system for when you're trying to track the people coming to your table. So yeah, I know that was short but sweet. Any questions or anything anybody else would like to add?
I would like to add a couple of things. First of all, during the tournament, stay off of your phone. That's not just texting, that's being on your phone. I understand that sometimes they're busier than others, but if you're on your phone and a potential customer comes up and you're too busy talking to whoever that is, that you can't even hang up and give them 5 minutes, they're going to remember that. So, you know, if you see somebody coming 40 yards away, put your phone down, turn it upside down, turn it on mute, give them the attention when they're there. There will be some downtime in between to check emails, text, call people back, but please stay off of your phone when people are coming or are at your space. Another thing I want to mention is that we do not give out mailing lists for this event. So that's for a couple reasons, but the biggest reason is because this event in particular, names change up until the day of. So it's really hard to track that. That being said, everybody that has an assignment on a course, so whether it's a table at a tea or a beverage sponsor, you will get a list of the company that has the foursome and what hole they start on. There's 2 foursomes to each hole, but it will not have the player names. And I know Jake said grab business cards. Some of them will not have business cards because they're there golfing. And so I would highly encourage you to bring, if you don't even have pre-printed forms, bring up, you can't see it, but a couple packs of sticky notes to just write down their name, their company, their phone number. And Jake had a really good point. Like, even if it's a small conversation, anything that you can get to remember them, even if it's personal, like, what is your favorite part of the day? Or, oh, you know, like, what did you, even if they can say something about their child, something, because that's all I do is talk about mine, something that you can then call a week later and be like, how's your son Grant doing? And then they really feel like, oh my gosh, they were listening. They paid attention. They knew. So I think that that's really important. So if they don't have business cards, you know, have something for them to write information on, or you write the information on. And then once they leave, like Jake said, then you make your notes. What do you want to remember about them? And another thing, Jake also mentioned this, but, you know, don't disqualify somebody just because of their position or what you know, if they're a vendor, let's say they're maintenance and you only want to deal with the CEOs or the managers, because I'll tell you that today's caretakers in 20 years, they're going to be running this industry. And what you do in front of them at any given time can stick with them. And I've seen that happen over the years. I can give you many examples over the years, but also word of mouth is huge. And as much as this industry is a very large industry, it's also very small. And a lot of people know a lot of people. So just make sure you're on your best behavior. You're giving everybody the same, you know, time. You're treating everybody the same. I have an example that sticks out. Years ago, I had someone who was an assistant for a president of a company and needed new hardwood floors for 400 units, and walked by somebody, and this was at the trade show, but they saw that she was an assistant and they wouldn't give her the time of day. And they were a member company and the only one that did the hardwood floors at that time. And they gave their business to somebody else because they saw her title and they assumed. And so you just, you know, everybody's got something, everybody has something to do with this industry. And that's really important to remember. And even your peers, like Jake said, word of mouth and just connections. I have a committee where I've got 5 different roofing companies on, and they're happy with it because some of them are too busy that they give it to another roofing company. So even if they do the same thing you do, don't be afraid of your competitors as well, because there's plenty of business to go around in this industry.
For sure. One thing I forgot to mention, completely spaced it, probably the most important thing that I forgot is follow-up, right? So great part of, you know, gathering all this information. What do you do with it next? I'm going to give you a couple of best practices. One, do not look to set up a meeting right after the event, right? How many business cards, how many times did they write their name, number, and email? They're going to be blasted with marketing emails. Hey, I'd love to set up a time. Even that if you had a memorable conversation, I'll tell you this much, emailing them right after the show, not a great idea. One of the things you can do if you want is wait a few days and send a quick note. Hey, thanks for visiting my booth, Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed our conversation around X. And then that way you can follow up at a much later time. Give it a week or two when things have died down a little bit, and now you've created a conversation piece for you to follow up at a later time. And really, those people will be the ones that will be willing to listen to you versus getting 80 sales emails and looking at every single one of them and going delete. So follow-up is really, really important. And like I said, you may feel like you had a really great conversation with somebody. I would resist the urge to try to set up appointments right after. I would really try to take your time. And if anything, if you want to send a quick note, thank them for stopping by your booth. Those are great. And then, like I said, follow up at a later time when they're not so bombarded, and you'll see a much better return on the work that you're putting into it. So.
Yeah, and to note, our tournament's on a Thursday. I think we all know in Minnesota that a lot of people do 4-day weekends. They're at the cabin Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I would hold off on any follow-up until at least the following Tuesday, because otherwise you're going to get lost in their Friday, Monday mail. And look, Susan, yep, I second that. Just attended a virtual trade show and got 25 emails the next day. And that's why, too, make it personal. Get a little fun fact about them.
Yeah, I haven't responded to any of them because it was too much.
Yeah, that would be overwhelming. I totally get it. Yeah. Does anybody have that's the rest of the topics that we have for today, but if anybody has questions on anything, we're still all here, so feel free to, at this point, you don't need to type it in the box if you don't want. You can just go ahead and ask.
I have a quick question. So how many teams will each sponsor see for the day?
It's going to depend on what course you're on. So if you are on one of the two main courses, so hold on, I'm not really good at math. I believe 36.
I got it.
Yeah.
The banker always has her calculator.
Banker.
So
Yes, you go, Laura.
On Signature and Crossroads, which are the two larger courses, there's going to be 8 people and 18 holes. So you'll have 144 golfers you'll be exposed to on each one of those courses. If you are on the executive, you'll be exposed to 72. However, they're going to go around twice. So keep that in mind.
And like Laura said earlier, and I will have, I'll be sending out sheets to sign up to purchase meal tickets too, because we do have, registration opens at 8:30 and shotgun doesn't start until 10. And then the 19th hole party technically is like a 1:30 to 5-ish, just because sometimes like the 9 hole may end earlier. Some people end a little bit earlier and then we start, but we like to have the whole day wrapped up as far as golfing by 3 o'clock, and then everybody goes to that. So even if you're only on the executive course with 72, if you come in there early and you get set up and then you participate in the 19th hole party at the end, the 360 golfers is just the beginning, because then you're also getting, over 100 plus sponsors and their people as well. And like we just said, don't be afraid of competitors. Don't be afraid of, other vendor members. So there, is the potential to see, I would say, over 500 people easily in the morning and in the afternoon, in addition to those that come to your specific location. Are we able to decorate the drink cart? Yes. And the foursome cart, if you've got a foursome and you want to decorate it, more power to you. I think that's great. I would encourage it. I think it'd be fun, but drink cart for sure. And people a lot of times do get into that. Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. And be memorable, go wild. Just don't do anything that will damage the cart permanently, because we don't own it. Neither does Majestic Oaks.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was just gonna add. Just don't super glue anything to it or any, nothing permanent, but you are absolutely welcome to decorate the carts however you'd like.
If chance this is recorded, I keep getting interruptions. You bet it's being recorded. And I'm sorry you're getting interruptions, but I think this has been great. So hopefully, if you need to send it to anybody else in your office, because I also want to touch base on that too. So except for the beverage carts where you're limited to one person, everything else, you know, you can bring 2 people, bring 2 people. It gets to be a long day. And if you do have to take an emergency call, you don't want nobody at your spot, or you don't want to be the one sitting on the phone being like, I'm sorry, hold on, hold on. And like Jake said, you know, I'd rather have my friendly, memorable people than the best salespeople. People that are memorable, people that can have that conversation and get that conversation going. They can bring back the information and the other people in the office can call them, but have people that want to be there, know how to be memorable, know how to be welcoming, and want to have a good time. Because even with trade shows, and I've seen it at golf too, some people are like, I don't know, where am I supposed to go? I was just told I need to come here. And they sit there in their chair with their arms crossed and they look miserable and nobody wants to talk to them. And then the next day the owner calls and says, we didn't get anything out of it. Well, no, you didn't, because you just sat there and you didn't interact. So send the right people. That might not be you, and that's okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you have any questions, you can contact me. I'm Stacy Karras. I don't even know if I introduced myself, with MHA, and then Pam and Mason with Majestic Oaks. The forms that they talked about earlier are on the golf website, which is mmha.com/golf. Otherwise, if you just go into MHA's website under events and you'll get golf. There's also confirmation email that was sent to whoever registered for your company with this information. If you have questions, reach out to me, reach out to Pam and Mason. I can send everybody with this. I'll send everybody that's participated today and that hasn't a link to view this if you want to watch it again. And we've got a great committee, and no introduction. Thank you, Kelly. That was very sweet. But thank you all for participating. We haven't done a sponsorship orientation for golf for, I don't know how long. Laura, you might know. I think it's been a while.
I feel like it's been like 5 or 6 years. So I'm glad we got to do this refresher, and just to, you know, second what everyone says, have fun. Thank you again for being part of this. We couldn't do it without everyone's help.
For sure. And I will send out a survey after. Just hopefully you found this event useful today. And again, any questions, let us know. Or anything that we should say next time that we didn't cover, let us know that too. So, and we'll see you in a couple months. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful day. Thank you, everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you.